If you have seen my previous video, you might ask yourself, what has Taoist alchemy to do with Daoland Healthcare? Well, the answer actually is very simple, because Daoland Healthcare applies some of the principles of Taoism in daily life, your daily life, and in the life of many other people who have been touched by these kind of practices. And don't forget, many people who call themselves Taoists, because of the nature of their practice or their living environment, they never get further in the same stage that you get. So it is not a problem. You don't have to be a Taoist to be able to practice this alchemy. First of all, your life is a lot like these plants. Your life takes place in a limited environment with limited possibilities, and when you bounce against the limits of these possibilities, you start having problems, whether it be social or medical or psychological. The idea that Daoland takes from Taoism is that all life, in the sense of the limited options that we have, is created equal. And because our lives are created equal, we all face the same problems, and it doesn't matter how hard you fight, how rich you are, or how much you try to escape it, the limitations remain the same all the time. So that also means that we all face more or less the same problems. We are being born, we face all kinds of problems in growing up, and then we grow old and we see all the things we worked so hard for disappear, and then eventually we die. And whatever happens after death doesn't really matter. Whatever happens during life, this is this period where you are conscious, or you are at least aiming to become conscious. This is the only thing that really matters. So the Daoland Healthcare program is based on the idea that we can all by ourselves optimize this life to make sure that we become conscious as quickly as possible, and that we stay conscious as long as possible, and that we are all the time as able as we can in achieving all kinds of things, and we don't waste our time on doing useless things like pumping iron. No, we don't read the Donald Duck if we don't need to. As part of our education of learning how to read, it is useful, but when you're 25 or when you're 40 or 50, that doesn't make any sense anymore. It's the same when you want to be entertained. You're entertained because you want to learn something, but at the moment when you're not anymore learning anything from it, then it's called repetition, and it can lead to boredom. So then you need more entertainment, or more hard entertainment, to find the position where you can feel entertained again. So that is also not useful. We try to also avoid these kind of things because they are simply not good for your health. You think that is asking a lot, to try to let go of the entertainment and try to direct yourself towards a life where you work on your general health and optimizing the qualities of your life? I have been in this small forest before for Sakura, for watching the plum blossom flower, and now a few months later there's nothing, there's no fruit, there's nothing on the floor, everything is very clean. So somebody is maintaining it, and either somebody has been taken out all the fruits, which must have been dozens, or these trees don't give any fruit. Let me be very clear, Daoland Healthcare borrows from other systems, of course. No giant can stand on its own, they always have to stand on another giant. So that is a very simple thing. The first example where it borrows from is regular healthcare. Regular healthcare is based on some principles which you can, for instance, read back in the theories of Michel Foucault, French philosopher, when he is talking about the development of modern psychiatry. In medicine and psychiatry, the same a sort of dependency has been created of the client, and this dependency makes that the authority for your medical condition is actually with the doctor, with the person who treats you. And people have been conditioned with this problem, and as a result of that, they do not believe that they can do a lot of things by themselves for their health, and they have to learn to change that. So this is one of the core principles of Daoland. It basically says, based on Chinese medicine and also on Wudang culture, is that every person should be the master of his own life or her life. You should be the authority to understand what's going on with you, and the doctor has to adapt to your understanding. That doesn't mean that whatever you think is right. No, you still need a system. That just means that your education from childhood onward, preferably until you're grown up, has to be filled with information about how your health works. That doesn't mean that you have to learn all kind of technical scientific knowledge, which might or might not be relevant, although some of this information might be a good addition. But primarily you have to understand what the feelings of your body mean. Chinese medicine is unique in the sense that it emphasizes that the understanding of your self-experience provides you with the clues about what's going on with you, and these are captured in a very simple theoretical framework of yin yang, wu xing, san qing, and so forth and so forth. So san cai, and all these different kind of things, they mean that you can develop a language and observation quality that can support you in your understanding of what's going on with you. And as a result of that, it is possible to develop tools to calm you down or to stimulate you when you are facing a problem. Most of the problems that we face are what is called overstimulus or understimulus, you might say like that. We're getting too hot, or we're getting too cold, or something like this. As a system, we know from experience that if your temperature is a little bit under 37, 36.6 or something, 36.7, something like this, actually optimized, is mostly optimized. And if it is getting too high, like 37.5, closer to 38, then at that moment your body starts overheating. And when people age, they have cold limbs, they have cold hands, but in general you can see that heat is accumulated in the head, and fullness is accumulated in the feet. The fullness in the feet, you can see them causing, slowness in their gait, and they feel very stiff, and they have difficulties in maintaining their balance. And the fullness in their head causes dementia or other related issues, through which they actually, because of the fullness, lose the capacity to use their sense organs properly, and eventually even lose capacities of their mind, so that they cannot remember things, or that they cannot have a proper thought anymore. So these are things that are all part of what is happening to human beings, and you can know them, so you can see early signs. So that means that the Daoland program actually intends to teach people these early signs as good as possible, and to provide you with the tools, the language and the customs or the habits to help you change the nature of these kind of things. It takes from Taoism the idea that we discussed in the previous movie about the alchemical landscape, that every person should be king or queen in their own life. In your daily life, that means several things. But first of all, it means that you have to understand what your life is about, that you have to understand its limitations and its options, so that you can develop yourself into the direction that you want to go. That means you have to have a plan. It is not enough to just live your life passively. Of course, being a consumer, it's great to lead your life passively, because advertisement uses the option that you have to live your life passively. So they sell you all kind of things, because when you live your life passively, you can only react to things. So if you live in the now, that means you're living passively if you don't understand what the now actually means. That means that in most cases that you will react on things, and you will feel attracted to all kind of things, and you buy these things. The thing is, well, let me give you two examples. First of all, there was a client, she was a cleaning lady, and she was very insecure about her life. She didn't know what to do, where to go to, and I advised her at that time to see this as the core activity that she has in life, and not to have herself being depressed over the fact that she had such a minor job, but that so many people were able to achieve all kind of things because of her cleaning job. She was cleaning toilets, desks, and so forth and so forth. She was not very happy about it because it was very dirty work, and she looked more or less down on the people who had this. Let's say it like that for convenience. Of course there was much more context that made it a little bit more complicated than what I say now, but let's stick to this part and say that this is the case. After she learned how to apply that, which took some time, because it's very difficult sometimes for people to overcome their idea about what and who they actually are and what is the meaning of their work, she started understanding that she supported people, and that she was, in that sense, she was a healer or a leader basically. And as a result of that, she got her life arranged for a large part anyway. Another client, by accident also a woman, she was working in a hospital, and in this hospital she had an administration job, not a major administration job, but she was basically the piss pot for the whole hospital. Everybody who wanted something came to her desk and started complaining to her, and she felt really very much burdened by this. And then I explained to her the principles of being the king in your own life, and explained to her how her job actually is a leading job, and she just didn't see the opportunity, and because she didn't see the opportunity, she was not able to apply this principle to her life. We went through the different details of her job, and as a result of that, she was able to see that her directives actually had far-reaching consequences for the whole of the hospital. So since that time, she made more sense from her job. In Taoism, it very often it says like you have to accept the position that you have in life. This is a Chinese thing. The Chinese were a very stratified and hierarchical society, and people even had to dress in particular dress codes to make sure that they would fit in a particular job description, and that people would recognize them for what they are. They are like a cleaning lady, or they are like an office worker, or they are a government person, or they are police, or they are a Taoist. In our society, these restrictions on life are much less clear, and as a result of that, we are much more free to dress ourselves, and we try to liberate us from these constraints. And as a result of that, we start looking more and more like barbarians and civilized people, because everybody just does whatever comes up in their own mind, and there's no plan behind it. We just follow our whims. And according to the principles of health and healthcare, at the moment when you take care of yourself, you also have to take care of your whims. The moment when you take care of your whims, a lot of the pains and sufferings that you go through in your life, they will also disappear as a result of that. The reason why that is important is because when you don't have all these urges coming up in you, because they are extinguished, so to say, you start seeing meaning in a lot of different kind of things and meaningfulness, and as a result of that you can see how important you are in your life. And you are important in your life. If you are not important in your life, you do something wrong. You cannot make anything else more important than yourself. Not to mean that you have to be selfish, but you have to realize that without you, your reality doesn't even exist. You're being lived by other people, and then of course you end up being a good consumer, just like the person who just lives by themselves or by the moment, and you become basically victimized by this kind of lifestyle. Maybe not what you want. But taking this leadership role into your life means that basically life is a DIY issue, do-it-yourself issue. And the whole point of the Daoland Healthcare is to bring as many tasks of healthcare back to the person. That makes healthcare more cheap, but it also makes it possible that we don't need any insurances or anything else. We only need tax breaks. They are healthy, happy, good occasions, in case you have very high expenses. If you don't have any high expenses, there's no tax breaks. Yes? It doesn't mean that we shouldn't develop the science to do all kind of things, but the science has only relevance when it actually really helps people and it doesn't become an industry. In Chinese medicine ethics, the idea was that any doctor who can afford a big car or a big house basically charges the clients too much. So a doctor should be paid more or less the same like a car mechanic. This is basically how you can see it. And that means for you, of course, that you become all the more rich as a result of being able to take care of yourself. And to take care of yourself has quite a lot of things to do. First of all, you have to realize that health is a 24/7 job. All the other things are part of the job. So if you go to work, you get a salary and so forth and so forth. This is part of your job. Your prime job, according to the Daoland Healthcare plan, is being alive and staying alive and staying healthy. It is not enough to just live or to exist. It is important to actually also live a fruitful life, because it makes you happier and it makes the people around you also more happy, because people can believe in you. People need people to believe in, like you also need people to believe in. So when you find out what is your task in life, then you just be it like that. I remember one story. I was living in Nepal that time. I was staying in Bodhinath, which is a Buddhist area near Kathmandu, and there was this Lama I was following classes with, and I forgot his name actually, it's too long ago, it's more than 25 years ago, and there were other students in the group, and one of the students said, like, what about this and this Lama? He is teaching tantric things, and he is abusing his students, he's having sex with them and stuff like this. And the guy said, well, you know, that is their karma. They choose this teacher, so they know, or they can at least know, that this might happen. This Lama basically emphasized that you should know everything that's happening in your life. I was talking to a student the other day, yesterday to be precise, and I realized while talking to him that he never really understood that the study at the IOC Daoland program actually is for free. And the reason why it's for free is, first of all, because in Taoism, because of your dedication, you're supposed to be rewarded by receiving goodness. So when you're studying healthcare, which is a good thing, you should be rewarded for that. And your study should be for free, because healthcare should be for free, as much as possible. Then, secondly, when you pay through the Patreon site, you are offering donations. And in most countries, the donations are tax deductible. The IOC Daoland program is a non-profit organization. People just don't realize that. It's not a commercial organization, so we don't have to put commercial restraints on our knowledge and our skills and our experiences, so we don't have to streamline things in the way that a commercial school has to do. High-level studies can never be commercial. You cannot go to the stock market with an organization that follows idealistic programs. And healthcare is an idealistic program. A healthcare company that goes to the stock market basically is an immoral company because it tries to make money at the expense of the people who need them. So that is a no-go. But how does it exactly work? It works actually according to a very simple principle. You invest your first year. You pay 155 euros every month as a donation fee. You get a donation fee back next year from your tax, and you pay the next year every month a donation fee of 155 euros, and it continues, and even when you're finished, you still get the next year, the last year, you get your money back. So your whole study basically is for free. You only invest in expenses for the first year. And we offer you, in exchange, a very large package of skills that you can find nowhere else. So what's stopping you to actually go sign up?